First of all, obviously the learning should be for all those in Eretz Yisrael that need refuah, the captives come home, l'zecha nishmas, those that passed away, and the soldiers to be safe. It's l'zecha nishmas. Today's my uncle's yahrzeit, Yaakov Chanoch Henach Bar Baruch Tali Hertz. Ramoshe ben Menachem Levi, Yaakov ben Shagav Levi, Sarli Beshmol Tzvi, Chan Bepesach Yosef Shua, Avram ben Baruch. Okay, so let's begin. So we're up to Daf Zayin Amid Beis. We're up to 5 lines from the bottom, 8a. What the Gemara said was as follows. The Gemara asked the question. We know, and this is very important to today's a hold cup type of Gemara day, and that is that we know that different things require different levels of land, right? Nezikin is gova from idis, balchov beinanis, ksuvas isha ziboris. So there's A, B, and C of level quality. The Gemara asked the question, and that is it totally in you? Or is it totally in the community? Meaning, let's say the community's best is equal to your worst. So is that idis? Is it based on the community that you're in? Is it completely subjective to you? Now, one of the nafkaminas, now the Gemara, that's what we're discussing right now. Is it completely subjective to you, or is it based on the community that you're in? Meaning, is your meitav your best, and your ziboris your worst, and your beinanis your beinanis? Or is it depending on the community? So your ziboris could be the community's idis, because you might be super wealthy, or vice versa. Is it based on you, or is it based on the community? Because you have to pay. We have to know what to pay. If I'm paying with idis, I got to know whose idis. Is it my idis, or is it the community's idis? Well, no, but whatever you pay, you have to know what they are. Are they contingent on you, or are they based on the community? So the Gemara is going to bring a raya. Let me just explain what the raya is before we do it. The raya is the Gemara is going to be talking about, we know that again, Nezikin is idis, which is the best, Balchov is middle, and then Ksuvas Isha Ziboris. So the Bryce is going to have a long Bryce about what if I just have Ziboris? What if I just have idis? What if I have idis and Ziboris? What do I get? The Gemara has a case. One of the cases is, I just have Beinanis and Ziboris. I just have middle level and bottom level. How do I split it up? Let me ask you a question. If it's based on the community, then I could have middle level and bottom level, but it's based on me. If I have middle level and bottom level, you know what my middle level becomes? My best. That's the proof. If it's contingent on you, you could never have just Beinanis and Ziboris. Because if it's based on you, your Beinanis now shoots up to top level. That's a proof. The very fact that you could have it just, I have level tier 2 and 3 without a level 1 means it's based on the community. So my level 2 is the community's 2. My level 3 is the community's 3. But if it's contingent on me, I can't have 2 and 3 alone because my 2 will become 1.
The other way too. You can't have a 1 and 2 alone.
You could conceptually...
It becomes a 3.
Yeah. Well, no, because it could be, for me it's better. Yeah. Basically, you can't have, exactly, you really can't have...
You have 2 pieces of land.
You definitely can't have a middle. That's for sure.
So let me ask you, if we're going by the community,
Yeah.
and it's Nezikin, and you need idis, and you don't have idis, what happens?
Oh, so that's what we're going to do right now, the Bryce. The Bryce says like this. Let's say you have people that have to collect a chayiv, which is beinanis, you have nezikin, which is an idis, and a ksuvas isha, which is baris. So you have 3 people that are trying to collect from you, but all you have is idis, all you have is the best. Kulam gaiv ben idis, and they're all going to collect from the best. That's what you got. Beinanis, let's say you all have is middle. Well, kulam gaiv ben beinanis, they're all going to collect from the middle. Zibaris, if all you have is zibaris, well, kulam gaiv ben zibaris, they're all going to get from the zibaris. That's pretty posh. It's all you got, it's what you got. How you like idis beinanis zibaris. Let's say in a perfect world I have level A, level B, level 3. So then, nizikin beidis, right? The damages that I owe go from the idis. Balchov is beinanis, and ksuvas isha zibaris. That's a perfect world. Let's keep going. Idis ubeinis. Let's say I have level A and level B. I just have the top level and the middle level. I have idis and beinanis, and I have to pay off all 3 debts. So here's what I do. Nizikin beidis. Nizikin gets the idis. Balchov and ksuvas isha bebeinis. Then the balchov and the ksuvas isha goes with the beinis. Let's keep going. Beinis and ziboris. Now here's the proof. I have middle and I have bottom. So by the way, right, stop right there. How I could just have level 2 and level 3 isn't, if it's completely subjective to me, then isn't my level 2 going to shoot up to a level 1? Yes, but that's the proof. But we'll get to that in a second. Beinanis and ziboris, I have a level 2 and a level 3. So nezikin ubalchov bebeinis, the nezikin and the money I owe collect from the beinis. They collect from the second category. Uksuvas isha biziboris, and the ksuvas isha comes from the bottom category. Let's keep going. Idis and Ziboris, now that was level 2 and level 3. Let's say I have level 1 and level 3. I have top level and bottom level. So Nezikin is be'idis. The Nezikin collects from the top level. Balchov and Ksuvas Isha b'ziboris. And the Balchov lowers itself down. So the Gemara's proof is as follows. From that the case from before, that we had Beinanis and Ziboris. I have level 2 and level 3. So we said the Balchov and the Nezikin collect from the Beinanis, and the Ksuvas Isha is from the Ziboris. How do I have Beinanis and Ziboris? How do I have level 2 and level 3? If it's based on the community, then makes sense. You evaluate me based on the community. So they evaluated me, and I have a level 2 from the community, I have a level 3 from the community. But it's based on me, then how do I have a level 2 and a level 3? What should happen is the level 2 should shoot up to level 1, because that's my best. In which case, the Balchov should not collect from Beinanis, because there is no Beinanis. He should be lowered down to Ziboris. How do I stay at Beinanis and Ziboris? How do I stay at level 2 and level 3? If it's based on me, and all I have is level 2, then my level 2 becomes a level 1. So the Gemara says, Katani Miyas, you see from the case, Mitzia in the middle case, that Beinanis is Ziboris, that if I just have a middle category and a lower category. Nezikna Balchov Beinanis, Ksuvas Isha b'Ziboris. Wait a minute. Now, if you say that I'm evaluated on my own, not based on the community, tasa beinish like kidis, then wouldn't my beininis, if it's based on me, then it's the best I have. So what I have maybe is completely based on the community, a middle category, but if it's all I got, then it should shoot up to a top category. So why does the Balchov collect from the beininis? There shouldn't be a beininis. The beininis should be raised to a idis, and the Balchov should not be able to collect. Because the halacha is that when you have a level 1 and a level 3, the Balchov gets from the lower one. So we said if you have a level 2 and a level 3, the Balchov gets from the top one. But why? If the Beinanis shoots up to an Idis, because that's my best, then the Balchov is lowered. So how do you ever have a level 2 and a level 3? The halacha is that when you have a level 1 and a level 3, the Balchov collects from level 3. So that's what the halach is. So over here I have a level 2 and a level 3. So we said the Balchov collects from the level 2. But why? There shouldn't be a level 2. The level 2 should become level 1. Balchov should now be dropped to the lower floor. It should get from the bottom one. So the Gemara says, I'll tell you the case. Really, you're right. We do based on you. It is based on you. And the level 2 should shoot up to a level 1. So why does the Balchov collect from the level 2? The case was, when I lent it out, I had 1, 2, and 3. So when I lent him the money, there was a lien on, a Balchov collects from the middle one, right? So you're saying, well, how do you have a middle one? Again, right now all I have is a level 2 and a level 3, so I have a middle one. But we said, but if it's based on you, there's no middle one, because your middle now shoots up to the 1. So how does he collect from the middle one? There shouldn't be a middle one. The answer is, you're right. But the case was, at the time of the loan, there was a level 1 and a level 2 and a level 3. So that level 2, there was a lien on the property for the loan. Then you subsequently got rid of the top one. So now you said, well, I only have a level 2, level 3. It should shoot up. The answer is, well, yeah, conceptually it should shoot up, but there's a lien on the property already. So he's going to collect from that level 2 because at the time of the loan, there were 3 categories. There was a level 1, level 2, level 3. So yes, if there was just 2 categories at the time of the loan, I just had a level 2 and a level 3, then that level 2 shoots up to level 1 because it's based on me. The answer is, at the time of the loan, there were 3 categories. I had all 3 at the time of the loan, which means at the time of the loan, that Balchoiv has a lien on the property for a Beinanis, for the level 2. I subsequently got rid of the level 1, which means my level 2 should shoot up conceptually. Yes, but there's a lien on the property already, so he's going to get level 2.
No, there's Achrayas.
Correct. Exactly. So the Gemara... Yeah. We are 6 lines in. The case is where you're stuck with a level 2 and a level 3. How do you have a level 2? How is the Balchov collecting from a level 2? The level 2 should become a level 1 if it's based on him. The answer is, you're right, but the case was, there was 3 categories at the time of the loan. So at the time of the loan, there was a lien on the property for the middle one. So got rid of the top one. So now the little one becomes the top one. It doesn't matter. There's already a lien. So he gets to collect from that, what's middle category. You want to call it top category, it doesn't matter. He still gets to collect from it because there was a lien on the property at the time of the sale, because at the time of the loan, he had all 3 categories.
Well, let's say,
correct.
What happens if he, at the time of the loan, there was 2 and 3?
No, then if at the time of the loan there was just a 2 and a 3, then the 2 becomes a 1, and he gets from 3. He does not get from 2.
I know, but why should that be? There's sort of like an achrayas there.
The halacha is that you only a loan collects from the middle one or the bottom one. He does not collect from the top. So how is he collecting from the second one? If the second one becomes the 1, the answer is because it wasn't the second one at the time.
So it's not totally just based on achrayas.
Well, it's a matter of, at the time of the loan, you collect from the middle one.
When the achrayas fall.
Exactly. It's at the time of the loan. You have to look at what he's...
He had a middle category, so that middle category stayed middle
Correct.
for him. If he needed to pay that for somebody else,
But let's say you had 2 and 3.
Then at the time of the loan, the 2 becomes a 1. The 2 becomes a 1, and therefore there's no lien on the 1. There's only a lien on the 2 or lower. The Gemara says...
I don't understand something. Why can't you go ahead and just, let's say there is no availability, why can't you just double up on a different, let's say on...
No, he could. The question is, can he collect if he wants to? Yeah. Oh, so that's the explanation. I'll prove it to you. What did the Brisa say? The Brisa said that if there is a level 2 and a level 3, the loan collects from the level 2, which we had a problem with because we said the level 2 should go up to level 1. Well, fine. So the Brisa says that a loan collects from level 2 when there's just a 2 and a 3. The problem is there's another Brisa that says that if it's a level 2 and a level 3, the loan collects from the level 3. So there's a straight up contradiction. Does the loan collect from level 2 or level 3? So how do you explain the two? The answer is, the Gemara says, I'll explain to this. Now we can answer a contradiction. What was the contradiction? There's another Brisa that said, I have a level 2 and a level 3. Mamish the same halacha. But this Brisa says that the Balchov collects from level 3. So our Brisa said level 2, this Brisa said level 3. Now that's a contradiction. The answer is very simple. The answer is, really we're going based on you. It's subjective to you, which means your level 2 shoots up to a level 1. So that's why the Brisa says, if you only have a 2 and a 3, the Balchov does not collect from the level 2 because the level 2 shoots up to a level 1 because that's your best. Why does the other Brisa say you do? Because the other Brisa is talking about a case where you had all 3 at the time of the loan, so there was automatically a lien on the middle property. You then got rid of the level 1, which made the level 2 shoot up to a level 1, but you already had a lien on it. That's how you can answer that contradiction of does the Balchov collect from a level 2 or level 3? The answer is, well, how many were there at the time? Everyone agrees it's based on it's subjective to you, and it's just a matter of how much you had at the time. The Gemara says, Kashan Adadi, it's a contradiction in the Brises. That's how you answer the Brisa. Now, what we're going to be doing now from here into the 2 dots is 3 more answers on this contradiction. Again, the contradiction is, I have just a level 2 and a level 3. I make a loan. Where does the debtor collect from? One Brisa says level 2, one Brisa says level 3. So we explained our first answer was everyone agrees it's based on me. It's not based on subjective to the town. It's subjective to me, which means my level 2 is now a level 1. So that's why one Brisa says you don't collect from a level 2, because there's no level 2. It becomes a level 1, you don't collect from 1. Why does the other Brisa say you do? Because there were 3 at the time and there was a lien on the middle property. That's one answer. Because whenever a Balchov collects from the middle, so if there were 3 at the time when I made a loan, there's a lien on the middle property. If I then get rid of the top one, the middle shoots up to a 1, but I still have a lien on it. Balchov is Beinanis. Balchov collects from the middle property, which means that if you have 3 properties, all loans have a lien, especially when they're written in a shtar. So when I lend you money, there's a lien on your property for me to collect. Not all the properties, the property that Chazal wanted me to collect from, which is the middle one. If you then get rid of the top one, your middle one shoots up to the top, but it doesn't matter. There's already a lien on the property. That's how you could explain the Brisa in one way. The truth is, we could explain the Brises in 3 others way. Forget about everything you know. Now we could sort of reimagine the answer. Again, I only have a 2 and a 3. One Brisa says I collect from a 2. One Brisa says I collect from the bottom one. Which one? What's the answer? So the Gemara says I have a couple other answers. Iba Yisema.
Are we still going that
Oh, we're going to switch it. No. Iba Yisema. 8a-8b shaloi haisla idis umachra. Really, you don't. There was no 3 at the time. And by the way, now we're switching it entirely. Now it's not subjective to you. It's based on the community. And now it's a very easy answer. If it's based on the community, I can have a 2 and a 3 very easily, right? You evaluate my property. If my 2 is equal to the 2 of the community, I have a 2. If my property is equal to a 3, I have a 3. So I have a contradiction. One Brisa says I collect from the 2, one Brisa says I collect from 3. You want to know why? One Brisa is referring to where my middle is equal to the community's 1, so my middle shoots up to a 1. I no longer could collect. The other Brises we're referring to where my 2 is equal to the community's 2. So it stays a 2. If it stays a 2, I could collect from the 2. If my 2, all of a sudden, I became wealthy and they look at my fields, they're like, your 2 is equal to the community's 1. Well, you know what? Your 2 is now elevated to a 1. So now I can't collect from the 2, I have to collect from the 3. That could be a very easy way to explain the Brisa, assuming both opinions go with it's totally in the community, not totally in myself.
When you say collect from the 2 and not from the 3,
A Baal Chov generally collects from the 2. But if my 2 turns into a 1, then he can't collect from my 2 anymore. It's not 2 anymore. How would my 2 turn into a 1? If it's completely dependent on the community, you got to just look at the community. If my 2 remains a 2 with the community, it remains a 2. If my 2 becomes a 1 in the community, well, now it's a 1, and I don't have a 2 anymore. Now you can't collect from my 2, you collect from my 3.
General observation.
Yeah.
You got to go back to the original Psukim and Mishpatim. They are not clear. That's why you end up having these differences. in
Okay.
opinion, Because if you read the Pasuk,
Yeah.
it doesn't flow.
Yeah, I understand. I got
So
you.
long as it was crystal.
You just don't understand it, it flows properly. You don't
No, but the Baal,
In a
the
nutshell,
Baal Mishnah didn't.
Doesn't.
Basically, in a nutshell, it has to do like supply and demand, availability of what
Yeah.
that's what it basically is.
Okay, let's keep going. That's the second answer. The third answer, this is the easy part of the daf. Or it could be very simply, really I have a 2 and a 3, and my 2 is equal to the community's 2. It could be these 2 brises are actually arguing the original question that we have. Is it based on you, or is it based on the community? If you hold it's based on the community, I have a 2 without a 1. That's one brisa. The other brisa says, no, it's not based on the community, it's based on you. If the best you have is a 2, you know what? Your 2 is now your best. It becomes a 1. That could be another very easy way to explain the answer. And the last answer is probably the easiest, and that is this assumption. On a biblical level, a Baal Chov collects from a 3. Really, on a biblical level, a Baal Chov collects from a 3. Why is it that a Baal Chov collects from a 2? Is because Shalei Tinol Delos B'fnei Love, and we want to incentivize. That's actually machlokes. Meaning, the machlokes of whether you collect from a 2 or the 3 is in general. Does a Baal Chov collect from a 3, which is the biblical concept, or is there a rabbinic bump to push him up to a 2? That could be the overall machlokes. Just in a broader shaila, does a Baal Chov collect from a 2 or a 3? The Gemara says, I'm sorry, Ravina Amar B'Ula Pligi. They're arguing in Ula. I mean, they're arguing, is there a rabbinic concept to bump you from a 3 to a 2? Meaning, biblically, it's a 3. The question is, did Chazal bump you up to a 2? The Gemara says, Damar Ula, Dvar Torah Bal Chayev B'Zibaris. Ula says, on a biblical level, when you're collecting a debt, you are collecting it from the cheapest land. How do I know? The Shenemar, Bechutz Ta'amoid. The pasuk says that when you're collecting debt, you stand outside. Now that means on a biblical level, it means you can't enter the guy's house to collect a collateral against his will. But the Gemara understands. Now, the Gemara describes, Ula understands that the pasuk is describing paying someone's debt while he's staying outside. It implies that you're giving him sort of like the trash that you take outside. What do you take outside of your house? Trash. Meaning, so the pasuk describes paying off a debt as, I'll bring it outside to you. Meaning, like, it's the type of thing that you just bring outside, like trash. So really, on a biblical level, it's ziboris. Umatam says Ula. Umatam amru bal choy bebenis. It says Ula. So if it's really ziboris, then how come they bumped it up to a middle? And they wanted to incentivize loans, because I know that if I lend you money and I'm only going to get trash back, I'm not going to lend you money. So it's a rabbinic concept. Mar islay tekan to do, mar lesay tekan to do. The machlokes in the brisa is whether Ula is correct. One brisa says you collect from 3 because that brisa believes that it's biblically from 3 and there's no rabbinic bump to 2. The other brisa says 2 because that brisa feels there is a bump. It's just an overall shaila of, do you collect from 2 or 3? Just an overall shaila. Okay, new topic. Now here's the point.
I'm sorry, isn't that
Yeah.
something you should know if there's a takana or not? Or they just
It is a little funny that it sounds like it's a machlokes brisa. Like, why does it have to be in this case? It's just an overall machlokes. Yeah, but that.
like Meiser shot.
Well, no, it's a machlokes brisa. But the point is, it's interesting that they would be arguing in this case because this case is a little bit more of a funny case. They could have just argued stam bal chayev b'zibaris, bal chayev bebenis. Okay, fine. Now here's the deal. Before you go on to the next one, that is that. Yeah, we know that there are that if I lend you money, you could collect from me, from my land. Now, let's say I sell my land to you. You could collect from him. You could. It's called a encumbered property. You could undo the sale. You collect from him, and then he'll come and get money from me. That's called mishubadim. I lend Arla lent me money. I owe him money. I don't have land anymore because I sold it all to Menashe. He can go straight to Menashe and take it. Now the halacha is though. Exactly. Now the halacha is though, you could only do that. You could only do that if I have nothing available. Meaning, let's say you're a Baal Chov and you're supposed to get Baininus, but I sold all my beinas to Menashe and all my idis. I sold them my number 1, my number 2. All I got are number 3s. And you're like, I don't want number 3. It's well, you take a number 3 because you cannot undo a sale if there's available land available. Okay. And also, by the way, let's say I sell him. Yeah, so we're going to be dealing with Taner Rabbanan. Okay, here's the deal. I have 3 people that want to collect. Again, I got you got a Balchoiv, you got Nezikin, you got Ksubasisha. You got 3 different people that want to collect, and one wants Idis, one wants Beinis, one's on Zibaris. But here's the deal: I have Idis, I have Beinis, I have Zibaris. I sell them all to you on the same day. I sell them all to you. Machar le'echad. I sell them all to you on the same day. So the halacha is, they're all going to be undoing your sales. The person who's supposed to get idis will take your idis, beinis will take your beinis, zibaris will take your zibaris. So you'll come to me. Or, by the way, I sold them to 3 different people on one day. So I sold my idis to Arla, and I sold you my beinis, I sold you my zibaris. So then the person collects idis, beinis, zibaris. Easy. They all collect what they're supposed to collect. Now, what if I sell bezeh acher zeh? Now that first case was 2 cases. That was either I sold all 3 to one person in one day, or I sold in one day A, B, and C. Now, by the way, you could already ask yourself, well, if I sell to 3 different people, it's the same halacha. Isn't it pasha that if I sell to one person, it should be the same halacha because one person has no one else to wiggle out of? We'll get to that in a second. The point is, if I sell all 3 to you, then they all collect from you. If I sell you, then they collect from you and you and you. Now, let's say I sell to 3 different people on 3 different days. So I sell you day 1, I sell you day 2, and I sell you day 3. The halacha is they all go to you. They all go to the last one. Why? Because you go to the last one sold. Because it's not fair. This is a very important point. I sell my best land to Arla day 1, and then I sell my middle land to you day 2, and then I sell to Adam day 3. The halacha is they all go to Adam. Why? Because you have to protect the first buyer. You see, Arla's like, I only bought that land because there was so much land available, I didn't think I'd get in this headache. You see, if I sell all of you in one day, you know what you're getting into. But you bought land knowing I had land left over. So therefore, you're protecting yourself so that they all go to Adam because he's the last buyer. If Adam doesn't have enough, then they'll go to Menashe. Then they'll go to you. But the point is, we have to protect the first buyer. So if there's multiple buyers, we're going to protect the first one because the first one says to himself, I bought knowing that you still had land by you that you were going to sell. And I was like, they'll deal with that. I don't want to have to deal with that. So the Gemara says like this. If I sell to 3 different buyers on 3 different days, then kulan goyim menachron. You don't go with idis base. You go to the last guy. The last guy, they're all going to collect from Adam whatever he has. Ein loy. Now let's say Adam doesn't have enough. So then, they go to Menashe, the guy before. Ein loy. If that's not enough, then they'll go to Arel. Okay. Now the Gemara has a question about the first case. The first case is like this. The first case was, I sell all 3 to you in one. I sell all 3 to one person, or I sell in one day 3 to 3 different people. Now the halacha is that if I sell it on one day 3 to 3 different people, 10 o'clock in the morning to you, 11 o'clock in the morning to you, noon to you, the halacha is they all swoop in to collect. And that's not considered. There's no first sale, second sale. It's all one day. So then Idis goes to Idis, Beinis goes to Beinis, Zibaris goes to Zibaris. That's one halacha. I get it. What's the first case? The first case is instead of selling it to 3 different people on one day, I sold it to one person in one day. And that's pretty posh. If people can, if they're all going to be swooping in by 3 different people, I'm pretty sure they're going to be swooping in by one person. So the Gemara wants to know what's the point of that case. What's the case where I sold it to one person, where they all collect? Idis, Beinis, Zibaris collects from that one person. So, if you want to say that it was all sold in one day, if they're all collecting when I sold to 3 different people in one day, then one person, if I sold it to 3 different people and they all have to just basically take it, they all have to say, listen, take whatever you need, and there's no way to wiggle out, then if I sold to one guy in 3 lands in one day, where is he going to go? No, it's pushit.
Well, it might not be that pushit because you went after one person, but now he doesn't have the base.
No, he has. No, I sold all 3 to him.
I know, he has all 3, but now someone else collected something.
No, but the case is I sold all 3 to him in one day, right, and they all go to him. So isn't that pushit? Of course they're going to go to him. Who are they not going to go to? If they go to 3 different people that bought in one day, I'm pretty sure they'll go to one person bought in one day. So the Gemara says, here's the case. The case is where I sold it to Arla in 3 different days. Meaning, I sold him day 1 piece of land, day 2, second piece of land, and day 3, a third piece of land. And the chiddush is that the people can take all the lands from him, not just the last one. Meaning, if I sell to 3 different people in 3 different days, what's the halacha? They go to the last guy. So if I sold 3 different lands, A, B, and C, in 3 different days to Arla, the chiddush is, I should think, they should not be able to take A, B, and C. They should only just take C, whatever it is. If C is Ziboris, great. If C is Beinus, fine. I don't care. It should just be they collect from the last one. Kamash Milan, they could take all of it from him. They could take some of A, they could take some B, they could take some C.
Is that because I can't make the argument?
Oh, so here's the question. The Gemara it's actually hard to understand. Because the truth is, it's very difficult to understand. The Gemara is going to ask.
Even though, Arlie, you bought all of the Ziboris, you think, he has no Ziboris left, someone needs Ziboris, they can come to you, but you don't, because everything
Meaning that their argument is the buyer, when we say it's the person who buys the first one, right? He says, there's 2 other parcels of land, good.
The truth
I
is,
can't make that argument if I'm the one who's buying all of them.
true, but the problem, but the problem is basically like this. He bought in day 1 Edis, then the day 2 he bought Beinus, and then day 3 he bought Ziboris. So if it was 3 different people, they would not be able to collect from Edis, Beinus, Ziboris. They would all just have to collect from Ziboris. Right. But now that we're saying, because it's one person who bought in 3 different days, they can collect from everything. And that's actually very hard to understand, because the concept is you collect from the last one that was available. The last one available was Ziboris. So why is it that they could collect from things that bought 2 days ago? I understand it's one person, but at the end of the day, the rule is you collect from the last purchased item. The last purchased item was Ziboris. So why is it that if Arla bought day 1 Idis, day B...
Sorrow is what was available.
Okay.
Now has all that's available.
Yeah, but what was purchased at the last one was Ziboris, and therefore he should be able to, I should only be able to collect from Ziboris. I shouldn't be able to collect them from the stuff that he bought 3 days ago. It's not fair. He's saying, I left over Ziboris for you. If anything, we should protect the one guy who bought everything. So the Gemara said, the Gemara is kasha. The Gemara says, how come when it's 3 people, 3 different days, they don't collect Idis, Beinus, Ziboris, they just collect from the last guy? Whatever he's got. Why? Because the first 2 guys are like, listen, I left stuff for you. We left stuff for you to collect. So hachanami, so too, hachanami, so too, Arla should be able to say to every collector, the guy says, hey, I'm owed Hezek, I'm owed Idis. Arla's like, I bought Idis 3 days ago. I left you Ziboris. No, the Mishnah says I could collect from Idis. But why? I left you Ziboris. Yes, I purchased it. But why not?
Who is the original owner? Forget someone buying it. You can't say.
Yeah, but he's not the original owner. He bought it.
All the stuff now.
True, but when he bought it in periods. So he bought first Idis, knowing left, there's Beinus to collect. Then he bought the Beinus, knowing they'll still collect from Ziboris. He did that in that order to protect himself. So why aren't we protecting him? Yes, I understand he's one person, but why not? So the Gemara says, let me sort of explain outside what's happening. The Gemara is going to say the truth is you should be able to protect yourself. Why is it that everyone is able to collect from A, B, and C? The case is where the last one that you bought was Idis. Now, you say, okay, well, if the last one that you bought is Idis, then everyone should be able to collect from Idis. Here's the deal. Although the last one that you bought is Idis, so you bought day 1, you bought Ziboris, day 2, Beinus, and then 3 Idis. So everyone should swoop into the last one. We're actually protecting you, and we're saying, no, you can give them Beinus and Ziboris. Now the question is, why? We'll get to in a second. So the Gemara says, the case that we are allowing them to collect from the earlier lands is not hurting him, it's actually protecting him, because the last thing he bought was the Idis. So everyone is going to swoop into the last one, which is Idis, and we're saying, no, you can give earlier stuff, Beinus and Ziboris. So the Gemara says, but why? One second. You bought day 1, Beinus. Then you bought day 2, Ziboris, leaving Idis for the last, which means that everyone had a lien on this Idis. Then you bought the Idis. So we're coming to collect, and I'm like, hey, I'd like some Idis, please. I'm a Nezek, and you're coming because you're owed money, so you're like, I'd like Beinus, please. So what's the halacha? The halacha is you don't necessarily collect from Idis. You're going to take what he's going to give you Beinus, you'll take it. He's going to give you Ziboris, you'll take it. The question is why? If that was the last thing purchased, I'm entitled to the last thing purchased. The last thing purchased is Idis. We should all be able to swoop in and collect the Idis. So why is that Arel is able to sort of push us off? So the Gemara gives a first attempt. The Gemara does not like the first attempt, then we'll go to a second attempt. The first attempt is as follows. Mishum da'amrle, ishaskinu v'shaklinu kidunaychu shaklinu, iloi mahadrina shtar de ziburis limare, v'shaklitu kulcha miziburis. Here's the case. I am owed, okay, let's put people there to make it simple. I damaged you, so I owe you idis. I owe you money, which is bainis, and we got married. I owe you a ksuba, mazel tov. I owe you ziboris.
What's not clear
Yeah,
is when did those events occur?
that's better.
Prior to this, we've learned.
Yeah. No, I'll explain. Let me explain. No, let me explain the case. I'll explain the case very simply. So I owed you. I'm mazik you, so I owe you idis. I owe you money, bainis. Chasen in the family owe you ziboris.
All these happened in November.
Correct. All November.
Now
I have land. I have ziboris, idis, and bainis. So here's the deal. So I sell you day one. I sell you all my ziboris.
When? In December?
In December. So you guys you haven't collected yet. You sell them.
Sold it in November before anything.
No. True. This is after. So I sell it all to you in ziboris. Okay. Now you guys didn't collect it because you're flying on a plane, whatever. Then day 2, you buy all my bainis, and then 3, you come all my idis. Now they all come to collect. So they should all just collect from the idis. That's the last thing I sold to you, right? They come to me, I say, I don't have anything. I sold everything to Arla. So you should just go, based on the rules, you get the last. All of you should luck out and get some idis. But what does the Gemara say? Arla can be like, no, I'm going to give you ziboris, I'm going to give you bainis, I'm going to give you bainis. I'm not giving anybody the idis. But why? It's the last one. So the Gemara says, I'll tell you why. Because there's a clever chap that you could say. Arla is only the one dealing with it because I don't have any land left. You know what Arla can do? Arla can say to you guys, listen, you'll take the bainis, or I'll mess you guys all up. Here's how he can mess us all up. He'll take the ziboris, he'll give it back to me, and then, oops, you guys can't deal with Arla anymore. You have to come straight to me, and you all get ziboris. And Arla is threatening that by saying, listen, you'll either take the bainis, or I'll mess you all up. I'll undo the sale to me with the ziboris. You'll sell it back to me. Now, all of a sudden, when they come to collect from you, you're like, go to Avi. You're the one, he owes you all the money. You'll go to me, and I'm like, I actually have a lot. Because I'm the one who damaged him. I'm the one who owed him the money. I'm the one who married his daughter. I'm the one who's the Baal Chayiv. Arla is just the guy who got in the middle of this. The only reason why they're going to him is because I don't have any land. But, so really they should collect from Idis. So why are they not collecting from Idis? Why is he able to protect himself? Because he could threaten them. And he could say, listen, you either take the Baininus, or I'll give you the Ziboris, and all you guys are getting on Ziboris. And therefore, you guys are just like, you know what, fine, it makes sense. Here's the problem with that. If you could do that, then why are you even giving him Baininus? Right? Why are you giving Bainis? He should be able to say, listen, you'll all take Ziboris, or I'll make you take Ziboris. There's the easy way and the hard way. You either take the Ziboris, or you'll sell me back the Ziboris, and then all I have is the Ziboris. So why is he giving Bainis at all? The Gemara says, wait a minute. Yeah, but go to the next page. So then why is the guy with the damages, why is he collecting Bainis? You should say the exact same threat, which is, collect the Ziboris from me, take it easily, or I'll sell it back to Avi, and then all he has is Ziboris, he'll give it to you. So why could you not do that? So the Gemara understands, you know why, it doesn't work, I said the names, okay, whatever. The point is, I, the one who owes the money, a person like me, has the same name, but not me, that person died. So therefore, the reason why you can't sell it back is because the Yisaimim do not have to pay. The Yisaimim only have to pay if they actually have land. The second that the person dies, it's purely with the land that you have, it's now up to you. If you sell it back to me, then the Yisaimim are like, I don't care, I don't have to pay it. Meaning the reason why this threat doesn't work, we're saying like this, if that's the reason, why is it that they're not collecting Idis? Because you could threaten them, either take the Baininis, or I'm going to sell it back to Avi Ziboris. So we said, why don't you do that by the Bachalovosa? The answer is you can't do that because the case is where someone died. If the person died, then you can't threaten to sell it back because there's no one to sell it back to. So therefore, we're back to the original problem. If we're talking about, let's say we're talking about a Yasim, well, you can't threaten. So back to the original problem, which is, let me just read 2 lines. The case is where the person died. So therefore, there is no person to turn back to. And therefore, it's all you. It's all up to you. So back to the original question. So back to the original question, which is, Arla day 1 bought Zibaris, then day 2 bought Bainis, and then finally day 3 bought all the Idis. So what's the halacha? They don't have to collect the Idis. So we said, why? So first attempt was because he's going to threaten them that if you don't take the Bainis, I'll sell it back. But we said, what if the case is the guy died? There's no one to sell it back to. So how come in this case you could protect yourself, and how come you don't have to give them Idis? So what's the reason? So the Gemara says, Mishum de Amr lahu, time am I Amr Abanan in from Nechasim Mishubadim, Malkum Sheish B'nei Chayrin, Mishum Tekanta Didihi, Ano Bahat Tekanta Le Nichale. Very simple. I mean, it's simple if you understand the case. The case is as follows. What's the rule? The rule is like this. Let me explain. I'll give you just listen 1 minute and everything will become clear. Instead of one person, Arla being one person, let's go to 3 different people. He buys day 1 the Ziboris. He buys day 2 the Bainis. And then day 3, Adam buys everything. Who does everyone go to? Adam. Why? Because when there's multiple buyers, you have to protect the first buyers. The first buyer says, listen, I bought this. I don't want the headache of having someone take my property and going to court. I don't want this. So you always go to the last one. You always go to the last one to protect the first 2 buyers, because the first 2 are like, listen, I bought it knowing that I wouldn't have to deal with this.
No matter what he bought.
Correct. But says the Gemara, but what if, in this case, we're not dealing with 3 different people, we're dealing with one person.
Right.
You on day 1 bought Ziboris, then day 2 you bought Bainis, then day 3 you bought Idis. So we're saying, we want Idis. Why? Because that's the rule. We go to the last one. The answer is, why do you go to the last one? To protect the first 2 buyers. Who's the first 2 buyers in this case? You. The whole takana is to help you. And you say, you know what, in this case, I'd rather not being helped, because based on the takana, you get the last stuff. Well, the last stuff is the best stuff. He doesn't want to give that up. And he says, listen, this whole takana is to help me. It's to protect the first 2 buyers, which normally is multiple people. But in this case, it's one person. And Arla says, listen, I don't need help. I don't need help. So let's just go back to the original way it is from the Torah, and that is you take whatever I give you. And that is you collect money. Doesn't have to be the last one. The whole concept that it's the last one no matter what, right? Like you said before, if the last one is Idis, everyone takes Idis. If the last is Ziboris, everyone takes Ziboris. Why? It's Chazal wanted to protect the first 2 buyers. Well, in this case, that first 2 buyers is the same as the third buyer, and he doesn't want protection. And he says, listen, I'd rather not go with whatever the last one is, because the last one is Idis. I'd rather split it up, that the Baal Chov gets Bainis, the Ksuvas Isha gets Ziboris, and the Nezek I'll give him Idis. I don't want to just give everybody Idis. Why are you doing that? Because Takanas Chazal. But the Takanas Chazal is to help the second buyer, is to protect the first 2 buyers. The first 2 buyers are me. And therefore, I'm not interested in this takana. Sometimes takanas had to help me, and I'd like to waive that takana. The Gemara says, Micah Goinzu, what's an example of this where a takana was to help you, but you're allowed to waive it? Kid Rav Huna, as Rav Huna said, Rav Huna had this a couple times in Shas already. There was a takanas chazal that the husband has to supply the wife food in order in exchange for her salary. Now that was because the woman's salary was not a lot of money. But let's say this woman is making $2 million a year. She could say, I don't need your takana. That takana was meant to help her, and she's not interested. Okay, now here's the deal. We're almost done. I think we're doing a good job. We're almost out of the woodwork. Last point, okay, last cases. And that is, in this case specifically, okay, understand the case. It's very, very important. I owe money to you. I was mazik you, and I ksuvas isha to you. So idis beinis ziboris. I don't have everything. I sold it all to Arla. Day 1 ziboris, day 2 beinis, day 3 idis. So really, everyone should go on the idis. But we said to protect you, you could give it out in your way. Here's the case, though. You then sold something to Menashe. So now the question is, who? Again, I'm out of it because I don't have anything.
Well, what about the money you have?
I don't know. It's only land. It's only land only. I don't have any money. I don't have any.
There's no.
Well, they'll sue me. They'll sue me. Arla you'll collect it from Arla, and then he'll take me to court. We'll deal with that later. The point is, everyone should be going to Arla again. Technically, you should be getting idis. Everyone should be getting idis. But we said to protect you. You could say to them, listen, the whole thing is to protect me. I don't want to give idis. I'll take my other stuff. But here's the deal. You sold the idis. You sold to Menashe. So here's the deal. Pshita. Mocher lekeach beinanis uzibaris. You sold the beinanis as zibaris to Menashe. All you have left is the idis. So technically, see, think about this. They were supposed to collect the idis from you because that was the last thing. But we had this takana that you said, listen, the whole thing is to help me. I don't want it. Take my idis and take my zibaris, take my beinanis. We don't have those anymore because you sold them to Menashe. So what's the halacha? Do they go to you or do they go to Menashe? They go to you. Again, Though really they should always be just taking idis because that was the last thing purchased. But Chazal allowed you to say, listen, to protect, the whole thing is to protect me. I'm not interested in helping. I don't need help.
I can't dump the lien on.
But you can't dump it to Menashe because you don't have it anymore. Says the Gemara, if let's say the person who bought the 3 lands then sold the average and the inferior land to Menashe, B'shayr Idis Lefana, but he kept the Idis, which was the last thing he bought, which means there was a lien on that, which is what they should have always gone the whole time. Then the halacha is, Leisu Kul V'Ligmidis. Everyone collects from the Idis. You're going to say, listen, if you owned all 3, if you had kept all 3, there was no Menashe involved in the picture, you kept all 3, you could have pushed them off, and you could have said, listen, I know you want the Idis, but it's to help me and take the Ziboris. But now that you got someone else involved, you can't do that anymore. Now it just goes back to the Iker Takana, which is you buy you collect from the last purchase item, which was the Idis. Says the Gemara, Da'achronehi, Ubeinis Iboris Lesu, because really the Idis was purchased last by Arla, which means there was a lien on it from everyone. Ubeinis Iboris Lesu Gabe. And he doesn't have the other 2 lands to push the guy off and say, listen, if he had all 3, then he could say the same argument, it's to help me and I'm not interested. You don't have it anymore. And therefore, they all collect from Arla. Okay, Aval Machar Idis, but let's say the opposite case. Instead of selling the Ziboris and the Idis, you just sold instead of selling the level 2 and level 3, you sold the Idis, you sold the best, which was the lien on the property. So now here's the question, who do they go to? So think about it. You had all 3. Everyone should collect from the Idis. But we said the whole thing is to protect you, so you're able to push them off. You then sold the Idis to Menashe. So now here's the question. Do they go to you because you have the Bainis, you have the Ziboris, or do they go to Menashe because at the end of the day, that was the last thing that was purchased by you, that's where they should be going anyway. So says the Gemara, Shire Bainis, Ziboris, what's the halacha if you sold the Idis to Menashe? So Savar Abai Lememer, Abai thought, Asu Kulu Gav Idis, let everyone go to Menashe. Even though Menashe is the last person involved, he's the second purchaser, see, he's like, shouldn't you go to that guy? The answer is, the last thing that I sold, which was where all the lien goes, was the Idis. I sold to you. You sold to Menashe.
You just transferred it.
You just transferred it. So everyone now, you messed him up. Everyone's going to attack you. It says the Gemara, no. Amrle Rava, let me explain outside what Rava is saying. It's very simple. Rava is saying like this. When you had all 3, everyone would have collected the Idis. But what did we say? Chazal said, you could say to them, listen, don't collect the Idis. It's to help me collect the other stuff. You now sold the Idis to Menashe. You could look at it as, well, he got the Idis, so everyone's going to attack him now. Or you could say, you sold him your stance. Meaning, when Menashe buys the land of the Idis from you, he wants the land, not just the land, but he wants to be able to make all the arguments you could make. The same way when you had the Idis, and you had all 3, you could push people off. Maybe you sold that ability to Menashe as well. So Menashe, when he bought the Idis, he didn't just buy the land. He bought the land, and he bought the ability to make all the same arguments you did. And the same way, when you had the Idis, you could push people off and say, don't take the Idis, it's to help me take the other stuff. So too, when you sold to Menashe, you sold him that ability as well, meaning that Menashe could then say to you, don't go to my Idis, go to his Ziboris and his Bainis. Maybe when you sold him the land, you didn't just sell him the land, you sold him your stance. You sold him all of your standings in the arguments as well. That's the Gemara's Amalei Rava. Ma macharishin l'sheni. What did you really sell to Menashe? Kol zchushet haviyadei. Every argument that you had, not just the land, you bought him your rights as well. And therefore, when you sold him the land, you didn't just sell him, the chashiv, the best land, and now everyone's going to attack. You sold him not just the best land, you sold him your arguments and your rights as well. And had you kept the Idis, you'd be able to push them off. And even though, yes, the Idis was the last thing purchased, you could push them off. So when you sold that land to Menashe Nami, Matzi Amarlu, Gavi Ben Zibaris, the Chizavin Lekech Sheni, Adai Dechol Zibus, the Havler Rishon Gabazelche. You sold all those rights to him. And therefore, maybe when we go to collect the Idis from Menashe, he could say, listen, I'm basically like, instead of Arla. And the same way you could push people off and say, take my Venus, take my Zibaris, take my Venus, he could do that as well. Okay, that was good. Last 2 cases and then we're done. Amar Rava. Rava says, Ruven Shemachar, simple, newer case, pretty simple. Ruven Shemachar kol sedaisav l'Shimon. Okay, forget everything that you know till now. Very simple. I have 5 pieces of land. I sell it all to Shimon. Shimon v'holach Shimon u'machar sad achas Levi. So I sell it all to Arla. Arla sells one land to Menashe. Okay. Bo bal chayv de Reuven. The people that I owe money to now come to me. So what do? Ping pong. I push them. I say, hey, I sold all this. And by the way, unlike the last time where I sold it in piecemeal, I sold it all in one day. I said one day I sell to Arla, and then on the same day Arla sells one land to Menashe. They come to me to collect, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything. They're like, well, where's your land? I'm like, I sold it to him on Monday, and on Monday he sold it to him. So go. What's the halacha? Ratzim mizegav or ratzim mizegav. People can either collect from you or him. Doesn't matter. Why? Because there's no order. It was all sold in one day. They could collect from Menashe or they could collect from Arla, whatever they want. V'loy amrin. Oh, but when is this true that they can go to you or you? Loy amrin el dezaven beinanis. It's only true when when Menashe bought the middle land. Again, Bal Chayiv collects from the middle. I sold A, B, and C categories to you, and you sold B to him. So he knew going in, he's buying the thing that people will collect from. He's buying Beinanis, which is what a Bal Chayiv collects. So he knew going in that that's a possibility. But let's say Menashe didn't buy the middle land. Menashe specifically bought the best and the cheapest. Specifically. You know why? Then you can't collect. Why? Because then he's saying, why do you think I bought level A and level 3? Mm-hmm. Most people want average. I bought level A and level C. Why? Because I was protecting myself. I knew that there's a possibility that someone's going to collect a loan. I didn't want to be involved. Because that's why I didn't buy the middle one. And by the way, even if we said before that if Menashe bought the middle category, people can collect from either one. But that's only true if he bought all your middle category. But let's say he bought some, leaving over some, then the halacha is you can't collect from him because he's going to say, listen, why do you think I didn't buy all of your land? You think I didn't want land? I didn't buy all of it because I wanted to protect myself. I didn't want to deal with this headache. I feel but if he left over some of the same quality average land, you can't go to Menashe. He can say, listen, I bought it from you. Why do you think I didn't buy all the land? Because I didn't want to deal with this headache. Go to the first guy. Okay.
And this Reuben guy is a little bit of a Russia. Because he could have been stupid. Stupid? No, but he's selling everything.
No, I'm saying he could have been just clueless, not realizing any of this stuff. Yeah, he could just be not savvy. That's my point.
He's messing up the person who bought it.
True, but my point is he could have been doing that on purpose, or he could just be not savvy. He just doesn't understand how business works. One last halacha, and then we'll end with this. Amar Rabbi, Ruvain shemachar sadeh l'shimon ba'achrayis. Very simple case. It's so funny. It's like the last case. The Gemara is like the easiest case. I sell land to you with achrayis. So basically, I sell you land, and I say, listen, if anybody collects the land from you, you come to me, I'll pay you. It's in the document. So I protected you. Right. Okay. Also, Bal Chayiv de Reuven. So a very simple case. I sell the land to Arla, and I write in the shtar, if anyone collects from you, you come to me. I owe you money, so you're going straight to him. What's the halacha? The halacha is, I could argue with you. Meaning, I can go to court with you and say, before you collect, I want to talk to you. I want the lawyers to look it over. I want to do this. Now, why? Maybe you could argue. You could say to me, hey, buddy, it's not about you anymore. You don't have the land. It's between me and Arla now. I mean, again, I'm the one who owe you the money, but I don't have the land anymore. I sold to Arla with the shtar, and I said I'll protect you. You're coming to Arla and want to collect the debt. So I'm saying, listen, I want to say, before you talk to Arla, I want to talk to your lawyer. I want my lawyers to talk to you. The halacha is, you have to talk to me. And you cannot argue with me and say, who are you right now? You don't even have the land. Let me deal with Arla, and then I'll take the land from him, and then when you have a problem, you'll deal with him. The halacha is, I'm allowed to take you to court and deal with it first. I'm a baldavar. You can't push me away. Why? Because I could respond, who do you think he's going to go to? Right? He's going to, you want to say to me, Avi, what do you have to do with this? You know what I have to do with this? Who do you think Arla is going to come and collect the money from when you take the land from him? He's coming to me. So because it's going to affect me, I'm allowed to take you to court and deal with it. And the Gemara says one lad chiddush, let's say one last case. I sell land to Arla and I specifically write in the document, I will not pay you back if it's taken away. No achrayas. I owe you money. You are then going to Arla. The halach is I could still take you to court. Even though you could say to them, Avi, what do you have to do with this? I'm going to take it from Arla. This is Arla's problem now. And Arla can't even affect you. He's not even going to take me to court. The answer is it does affect me. Why? Because it hurts our business. In the future, I don't want it to be, even though, yes, you're not going to collect money from me, but it hurts my business because in the future, if I want to do business with you, you're going to say, no, I'm not going to do that. Last time I did business with you, I got messed up. Making sure I didn't mess you up is my business. And therefore, I could take you to court before you deal with him to clarify everything. I will stop here.